again, and welcome to the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Galetta, aka Hamilton Mike. My partner Brian the Ranger Retard is on vacation, but here at the Sports Box we bring you another solid special. You'll just keep coming back for more. Today the show goes on even though we don't have my partner here, Brian Retard. We're going to do Fantasy Focus for you for Week 6. Now first I want to say to all the viewers out there, one thing to the people in the area, I have to say this. To John and Vince Domenico, I just want to say the war is over. We've been friends way too long to have this go on about sports. I want it to stop. I said my piece. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, from my side, the war is over. Anyway, let's get back to the Fantasy Focus for Week 6, start and sit. Today, I'm going to start Brian Hoyer from Chicago, home against Jacksonville. Brian Hoyer's put up 3 300-yard games in the last 3 weeks, and Jacksonville is giving up 320 yards total in a game every single week. Gotta like Brian Hoyer this week. This is a team, Chicago, that's going to play from behind. They're going to throw the ball a lot. Brian Hoyer's got a lot of attempts, and actually a pretty good percentage. So I start Brian Hoyer this week. Who I'm going to sit this week, and if you have him, you probably sit him anyway. But Ryan Tannehill. He only has 6 touchdowns this year, and here we are in Week 6, only 6 touchdowns. And they're home this week, or they're home this week against Pittsburgh. Who is stopping Antonio Brown? Nobody's stopping Antonio Brown. That just tells me this game could get away from Miami early. Tannehill's going to have to throw to get back in this game. They don't have the weapons to do it. I think Tannehill's in a lot of trouble this week. You got to sit Ryan Tannehill this week. Running back wise, I think I'm going to go with Todd Gurley. Even though here's a guy you'd probably start every week. I know some guys that haven't been starting him every week, kind of with the matchups because he's been struggling. But you know what? I think Todd Gurley at Detroit this week, good situation for him. He only has 3 touchdowns, but this could be one of those games that it could blow open. Detroit coming off a big win against the Philadelphia Eagles last week at home, even though they won by 1 point. Big win in Detroit's eyes. Detroit, I think, comes a little bit down to earth this week. Rams running game, I think comes live this week in the Dome, so take Todd Gurley in a start position this week. And a running back who are going to sit on the bench this week, probably no surprise to a lot of them, is Carlos Hyde of the 49ers. He is the only guy, believe it or not, to get ranked in any kind of top 10 format or top 20 format in fantasy football because nobody else is anything that good. Kaepernick is starting this week. They're on the road at Buffalo. I don't care if Kaepernick is starting. Makes no difference. The defensive line for Buffalo isn't that bad. They might not be lighting it up. Actually, their defense we're going to get to later. But Buffalo's defense has come on a little bit, and I don't think that Carlos Hyde is going to be that much of a receiver or that much of a rusher this week. In that sense, I think 49ers could fall behind again in this game. Kaepernick might have to throw to get back in it, so not a good spot for Carlos Hyde this week. Wide receiver this week, I'm going to go with an old Eagle, but a good player, Jeremy Maclin of Kansas City. They are in Oakland this week. And yes, he only has 244 yards this year, which actually isn't that bad for receiver-wise. But, San Diego and Oakland last week, you saw in Oakland, it's a shootout. Points could get exchanged left and right. That Oakland defense is nothing to be, nothing to write home about. They have allowed 452 yards last week in that San Diego game. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of yards every week this Oakland defense is allowing. I think it's a great spot for Jeremy Maclin. I think Alex Smith can find him all day long. You might find a touchdown, even 2 out of Jeremy Maclin this week, so definitely start him. Wide receiver this week, to be honest with you, I put a guy down who might not even play. He's going to be a game-time decision, but Des Bryant of Dallas. Here's a guy who's definitely struggled big time this year. An elite receiver with Dak Prescott, a little back and forth. He hasn't been producing like he did last year, but you know what? Tony Romo's coming back soon, and people don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen. When Romo gets healthy, I think he's inserted back in this lineup. But for now, Des Bryant is struggling, and even if he does play, it's not a good spot to play at Lambeau. I definitely don't advise starting Des Bryant. Tight end wise, I'm going to go with Dwayne Allen. Here's a guy I used in Week 2 as a start, and I've also used him as a sit. But the way Indianapolis is going, they're up and down, they're all over the place. This week they are in Houston to play the Texans, the struggling Texans as well. Dwayne Allen, Andrew Luck's just using a lot of different formats, trying to get something rolling, and Dwayne Allen's no exception. They used to throw to Jack Doyle a little bit, but they seem to be getting a little chemistry, Luck and Dwayne Allen, so I definitely think he's a good start this week. And that Houston defense is awful. They're still not rolling. They're still allowing points, so I think Dwayne Allen's a good start at tight end this week. The other tight end to sit this week is Gary Barnidge. Talk about a guy who's fallen off the map. Last year, almost better stats than Gronk. But this year, with that quarterback situation they have going with RG3 out, with McNown out, now they're at Cody Kessler. I mean, he's just not getting the amount of targets or touches that he needs to get as a good tight end for this team. In the way of targets last week, I think he had 3 targets and caught 1 ball. I mean, this is a guy who's definitely fallen off the map. Cleveland's got to get their quarterback situation together, or it's not going to change. I'd definitely start Gary Barnes, or sit Gary Barnes this week. For the kickers, of course, Brian, if he's here, wouldn't give you any kicker information. I will. I'm going to give you the top 3 kickers I think are going to do well, and the bottom 3 kickers are going to do not that good. So, obviously, top 3 kickers, Justin Tucker of Baltimore, Adam Vinatieri of the Colts, Matt Prater of Detroit. And the sit kickers this week, Graham Gano missed one last week, Legatron in the Rams, you all know who I'm talking about, and Matt Bryant of Atlanta. So those are the 3 guys I think they're going to struggle a little bit this week. Defensively, the defense to start this week, got to be the Buffalo Bills. Home against the San Francisco 49ers. Buffalo is a +5 in the last 2 games, and they have been really getting some pressure at the quarterback. Colin Kaepernick will start this week for the 49ers. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think Buffalo can contain him. Guy hasn't played in forever and a day, so I don't think he's going to have, he's not going to be that sharp. So I think Buffalo gets it done here. I definitely think they're a great start this week. And a defensive team to sit this week, I think I'm nuts, but I think the Carolina Panthers might be a team to sit this week. Here's a team that's struggling. Even last week on Monday night against the Buccaneers, the Buccaneers by no means have a high-powered offense. They ran the ball at death on Carolina and succeeded to move the ball when they needed to. Passing game, they did get some passes when they needed to, but bottom line is Carolina's not the team they were last year, turning the ball over, scaring teams, shutting teams down. They're a shell of themselves right now. Lost a lot of things on defense. I just don't think they're a good start, even against New Orleans. And New Orleans, nothing defensively, but it just tells me this game's going to be a shootout in the way of scoring points left and right. So for points-wise in your league, I don't think it's a good start. And a little tip to all the bettors out there, a little tip. The Saints are 3-1 straight up off a bye week when they're home. So there you go. There's another great tip for you that we give you on the Sports Box. So that's all the time we have for Fantasy Focus this week. Keep an eye out. We got some good stuff coming. Make sure you're watching us or subscribing to us on Twitter at Sportsbox Show, and our Facebook page, obviously the Sports Box. Got some great content on there. We're going to have some upcoming things, some good stuff coming up. We're always thinking of specials. And the great thing is tomorrow is Fan Friday, so we want to hear from all you people out there who got some questions about fantasy, who got some different trade offers for us, and things like that. We'd love to answer them for you. Well, at least I will this week. Brian, unfortunately, is probably on the beach somewhere in Mexico, but that's okay. Because here at the Sports Box, the show will go on. And remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters, right here. Thanks for watching, folks. See you.
Don't forget to subscribe.